This is Silph Radio, a Pokemon-centered podcast. I'm Nathan Kappesser.
And I'm Craig Lewis.
And on this podcast, we talk about Pokemon. We talk a lot about Pokemon. We make stupid jokes about Pokemon.
Do we talk too much about Pokemon?
We make intellectual jokes about Pokemon. We do talk too much about Pokemon.
Or just the right amount.
We get really serious about Pokemon, and we get really silly about Pokemon.
You never know which way it's going to go.
We talk about the anime. We talk about the manga. We talk about the video games. We talk about big topics. We talk about little topics. And this is an adult podcast. It's not for children, and it has nothing to do with Nintendo or Game Freak or anything like that. Who produces this podcast, Craig?
Secret Room Multimedia.
.com. Check it out. Lots of cool shit there.
I was thrown off. I was not expected to just be given the, oh yes, that's our thing. That's the thing.
That's the thing.
That's the thing you go to that website and you find Silph Radio.
Yes, Craig, I'm sure longtime listeners know him as my podcast partner from Fairpoint Podcast.
Across the pond.
New time listeners know him as the same because I just introduced him.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Howdy, new listeners.
And I have you here today, Craig, for a heavy topic. This one was a long time, and man, we should have just waited a couple more episodes. It could have been our episode 50 special.
Could have been, but is it really the 50th episode this podcast deserves?
Craig begged me to do this topic with him. He was like, please don't let anyone else.
Okay, if we want to read the official transcripts.
Today we're talking about the Poke Mart or the Pokemon Mart. Or in Japanese, they're known as the Friendly Shop.
The Friendly Shop Mart?
Friendly Shop.
So just like the shop, the one that's sometimes in the Pokemon Center?
Now they are, but yeah, no.
The old ones, they were their own little blue building.
Just that's what we're talking about, the Poke Mart. We've got some fan notes, some fan commentary, but we're going to save that for the end because they involve Sun and Moon spoilers, so just in case anyone doesn't want to hear that. We'll talk about that at the end. So for now, let's jump into this topic. I know everybody's been on the edge of their seats.
You might be asking yourself, what do you have to say about the Poke Mart? Plenty.
What do I have to say about the Poke Mart? Plenty.
How does it work? Okay, so you know, I was thinking, it feels like you're spending a lot of money in Poke Marts. Like, Pokeballs are $200, right? Or 200 Poke coins.
Now, there's two ways to take that. Either A, the currency is just different. Just like in Japan, stuff costs like 3,000 yen. I don't know.
Right. Well, I did a little bit of work myself, and it's not so bad because, like, if you convert Japanese yen to America's dollar, 200 yen would be roughly like less than $2 American.
Oh, okay.
So that makes a little more sense, right?
$2 for a Pokeball, but honestly, $2 for that expensive piece of technology that can take a living animal and like can turn it into data.
But it's the most common item in that world.
So I think it's either that, or it could also be that being a Pokemon trainer is expensive.
It could be that too, I suppose. Maybe that's why people only have one or two Pokemon.
They carry general Pokemon trainer goods like potions, antidotes, Pokeballs, other shit. They carry a lot of shit made by Silph Co. or the Devon Corporation.
Burn heals and stuff.
And they operate a little like pawn shops, which is interesting because they're like
you can sell your goods.
Yeah, you can sell stuff to them, which is interesting. Most like supermarkets don't do that. Again, like just like we spoke about last week. Most
supermarkets. Well, you're also not buying food at the Poke Mart.
Craig's like, most? What supermarket do you shop at?
Listen, I'm telling you, the Pawn King is not a grocery store.
I got these cheeseburgers, man.
All right, so you're gonna want to take a right down at the end of the street.
But I think just like we said last time we talked about the Pokemon Center, now we're talking about the Poke Mart. And side note, they're color-coded, red and blue, so maybe they're both like league institutions, even though I always liked to think of Poke Marts as little privately owned shops. I might be wrong on that.
Maybe they're like, it's kind of like Dunkin' Donuts, like it's a franchise thing, you know? They let other more independent people in the town run those shops and keep their version of the profits, but the league in general, the government, the all-ruling government, takes their cut.
Is the league do you think that the league is the government? Because this is actually a debate we've been having on Silph Radio.
Basically, I mean, if not, it's definitely hand in hand. Maybe it's either the ruling government or maybe it's like the NFL and our government, because they're like hand in hand, but they aren't the same.
I don't know, man. As of now,
just dropping conspiracy
Just wait
theories
until
now.
the next election. Let's see. The next election is going to be fucking Paris Hilton versus the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, the only thing that can the Dallas Cowboys run? I don't think most of them are old enough. Paris Hilton is old enough.
Contrary to as she would have you believe.
Yeah,
so
she's not still 23.
I don't think the Pokemon League is actually like legislative government. I just think that they...
Well, I think they're like a branch of it.
For Pokemon-related matters, I think.
Well, everything is a Pokemon related to matter, even in general city planning. Like,
but I think the towns have their own mayors, their own, like... I don't know, though. But like, I just think the league doesn't actually... there's no
we're
evidence...
not saying it's an oligarchy.
There's no evidence that the league governs anything that doesn't directly have to do with Pokemon. And so if these things are league institutions, then maybe like you're saying with the Dunkin' Donuts franchise analogy, maybe like the league comes in, they're like, yeah, we're setting up a Pokemon center in every town. This is a favor to you guys. It's going to drive tourism. It's going to provide free health care and services to Pokemon trainers and the general public.
And you definitely know you need that free health care because, like, one wrong training move and you're burnt.
It's going to offer jobs in the community, and we're building it. We're funding it. So, like, it's the town is open to it. And maybe with the mart, it's like, hey, here, you're the guy running the shop. Hey, we'd like to upgrade your shop. And, like, we're going to open a Poke Mart.
Okay, cool.
We're going to open a Poke Mart. We'd like you to run the mart. And wasn't there one town in Red and Blue with a guy who was in his house and he's like, they want to buy my house, so make a Poke Mart. Was it maybe Lavender Town? I don't remember. He's like, bullshit.
Oh, yeah, that's something I haven't thought about.
So maybe that was it. And like the Poke Marts are specially directed towards Pokemon trainers. They're not just a grocery store, as I think a lot of people falsely interpret them.
There is no actual grocery store. It seems like there's no food libraries in any of the towns.
There's gotta be, but like maybe people still grow a lot of their food, and maybe there's still like
true.
Market days.
They could just be like cultivating it themselves.
Yeah, on Sunday they have the market, and and who knows, like. But the Pokemart, I don't, just like the Pokemon Center isn't just a hospital. I don't think the Pokemart is just a grocery store in a world where Pokemon happen to exist. I think it's especially geared retail outlet for Pokemon trainers.
I like that idea. So don't come on in here. Oh, what if don't they do mail there too sometimes? What was the deal with that?
Yeah, like
I never really got with the mail.
Well, did you ever do the mystery gift on any of the Pokemon games?
Yeah, I got mystery gifts, but I'm talking about like when you buy, you could have your Pokemon hold a letter for somebody. Like you could buy the different
and then you'd
stationery.
Well, no. they would sell the stationery there. Yeah, so when you traded a Pokemon to someone, it could hold a little letter to bring with them, and they'd be like,
fucking waste of money. Oh my God. That is capitalism at its finest. Hey, you want to trade with somebody? If you want, you can buy our special notes with wings or some shit.
Sometimes it's worth it, though, because if you could make the words say something really naughty, and then put them on a note and trade it to somebody, so they're like, "What?" They attached a note.
Send. It's just a small little.
The equivalent of a dick pic.
Yeah. There's this cute little Chikorita sent, and it just has this letter that says "Send nudes."
Scumbag Greg trades you a Pokemon,
hey,
and you're
man.
like, "What?" There's this cute little decorative envelope attached that's with it. Oh, I wonder what's inside. Scumbag Greg.
You've been Gregged.
It's barely there. At least trim.
Okay. Now I'm putting a fictional person who's never had an actual appearance, an appearance of only his penis.
Great. Now I'm seeing his dick.
Great.
And
I don't even know what his face looks like.
Oh, God. No. Let's move on and talk about the Pokemon Mart. When you do a mystery gift, though, also the people would show up. That's what I thought you were talking about. Did you ever do that?
We'll just get like a code for a mystery gift, and it's like a certain Pokemon.
They'd meet you at the Poke Mart. So again, but
I never got it from other actual. Yeah, okay. So the guy would be at the Poke Mart with a package for you to pick it up.
Right, and that makes sense. That it's like a league ran place.
So
that
the
he would
league
be
runs
there.
the mail too, or just that sort of mail?
Well, that's where he'd show up and meet you. Odd that they're not the Pokemon Center, but man, can you imagine being the guy working the counter too? It's like, fuck, there's a fucking mystery gift today. God damn it, this kid better pick it up early. Like, 'cause now
you gotta
this
stay
fucking,
there.
The league dude's gonna be here all day. Like, fuck.
Oh, just the regular employee with the league guy with the mail. I thought you were talking about the league guy with the mail. Like, I don't want to stand here all day.
Oh yeah,
Come pick
him
it up.
too. He's like,
Him
Jesus
too.
Christ. I hang out with
like-
these fucking counter jockeys.
You're just like looking out the window. You're like, motherfucker, I see you in the tall grass right now. Just stop and come get the
Just
mystery
come get
gift.
oh my God, it's a fucking
No, don't
Giratina.
fly.
It's
Giratina.
Giratina. This thing controls space. You know what? I'm about to say fuck it and just wage war on all of humanity. No.
No, you can't take
Don't
it.
do
That's
that.
against the
You're
code.
only a couple years
you're
from
above
retirement.
it. You will lose your pension if you do this.
Hey, asshole behind the counter. Do you smoke?
You want to watch this package for me while I go out back real quick? I got brakes too, you know. Then he sees the kid just like fly off. He's like, no, come back.
It's interesting. Early art from when it was still called Capsule Monsters, though, depicts you as being able to buy actual monsters and Pokemon there. Like, there's a shelf behind the big fat bald dude behind him.
Where you can buy actual Pokemon, spend money on Pokemon, like
There's
it's like
like-
the Lego game.
There's Nidorans in a cage, and there's like little tanks with like embryo-like creatures floating in them. And this is just early like
weird.
sketch art. And yeah,
That takes it too futuristic, man.
I imagine that's kind of outlawed because these are sentient creatures. Me and Brianna sort of touched upon this last week, and that the league probably has a problem with the game corner, and we knew they had an eye on it. Like, Lance helps you invade it, right, in Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Yeah, was that at the casino?
Oh yeah, that wasn't the game corner is the casino. Yeah, that was the game corner. Yeah. So it was run by criminals, and they were probably exploiting some loophole to be
big
able to
shock.
sell these Pokemon. But
Big shock. The people running the casino are not exactly the utmost of businessmen. You know what,
Craig, careful what you say, Craig. You haven't paid off all your debts yet.
You know what though? I'm tired of hiding. If I get my legs broke, I get my legs broke. They are shady people. Not nice.
So we first encounter the Poke Mart as young Pokemon trainer Red sets out from Pallet Town and reaches Viridian City. And when he gets there, they're like, oh, hey, and they won't sell him shit until he brings Oak's parcel back to Oak. Which is like, really? Like, okay, but I walked here from Viridian City. Can I buy a fucking Gatorade? Like,
Yeah, we don't sell Gatorade. You'd have to go to the food library in the next town over.
right, Mike, can I get a potion for my Caterpie? Or for my Bulbasaur, it would be,
You
or
sure
whatever.
can, but first you
Like,
need that
no,
package from Oak.
You need to bring that. Oak needs his package. Okay, but just sell me it's taking you longer to argue. It's taking you longer to argue with me than it is to just sell me the potion. Yeah, it's taking you longer to argue with me than it would be to just walk back to Pallet. I'm imagining Randall now. Bring the fucking, get out of the store, kid. I can't do Randall, but like, go, march. Oak's waiting.
Yeah, come on, bring it back.
Leaning back with his magazine. Why? Like, who? What the fuck? You couldn't mail it? You couldn't send a pigeon?
No.
You couldn't?
It was maybe it was like that's the proof that they need that you are okay to be sold goods at the store.
I think it was just a dick move.
Maybe it was just Randall. He's just too busy reading.
He was supposed to bring it. When Red showed up with the parcel, Oak's like, really, Randall? I just sent this kid. Did he really make you walk all the way back to Pallet Town? Fuck, here, you can have the third Pokemon.
Right?
I always imagine, like, the person running the mart to have a Meowth. The way that, like, you know, Meowths are based off those...
They like coins?
Well, they're based off those, like, lucky cats that traditionally you put in a storefront.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was a thing, but I do know that
Like
that's
at Chinese
a thing.
food places.
Yeah, like I've seen them in places, but I never put it together.
The way they move their paw like that means come here. Even though it seems counterintuitive to you, because you see somebody with their fingers motioning towards them to mean come here.
Yeah.
But, like, the way they
know.
move their paw away from them, that means come here. So it's like...
Yeah, like
beckoning-
come play with my paw.
It's beckoning, come into the store. And yeah, like cats do that.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, it's beckoning, come into the store, come buy stuff. And
Come
it's supposed to
here
bring
a second. So do you think they just have Meowth sitting in the windows of all the Poke Marts?
Yeah, sitting in the windows, laying around on the counter. Like, yeah, I think the person that runs the Poke Mart has Meowth.
So how often do you think the guy... No, it's not his Meowth. It's the league's Meowth.
It'd be his Meowth.
They're kind of just buddies, though.
Even if it's league appointed. I thought maybe, like, in the anime, they should have had, like, a parallel to Nurse Joy named Marty that was at the Poke Mart and had, like, a Meowth. I don't know.
Do you think the guy behind the counter then gets really annoyed when people, like, ask if your Meowth talks?
No, that's just that one Meowth.
Just literally one. Why would I not want to eventually evolve?
No, that's in the anime. The anime's dumb. It's for toddlers.
Meowths don't talk. It was just television. Because the Pokemon anime would be a real thing in the real Pokemon universe.
Yeah, right?
They could be, right? And that would be their thing. And they'd be like, oh, God. You know, you shouldn't make fun of Team Rocket. Team Rocket's a real big deal.
Pokemon would find it offensive. They'd be like, there's a show called Pokemon, and I really find it offensive. Like,
I'm sorry, but yeah, you're using us as slave trade bait.
this is worse than the Geico Caveman.
This is definitely worse. This is a poor representation of Pikachus everywhere. It's a Meowth advocacy group.
So I feel like each city charges you different prices for stuff, like, or I don't know, like sells different things. Like, mainly
yeah, they always have different products. Maybe just in that region, it's like something's more prevalent, you know, and you might need these TMs in this area of the world.
Right. It's obviously because as you proceed through the game, things get more expensive and powerful because to make the game, you know, maybe this is also evidence that the different towns and cities have their own economies and there isn't any overall governing
Then
factor.
why would they all look the same? If they were all unified to look the same.
The marts?
Yeah.
Because they're league institutions.
Okay, so it's still league appointed, but
Actually,
it's
that's
not
a
government affiliated is what you're saying.
Good question, because if they're selling league, well, no, because they're selling products from Silph Co. So yeah, I mean, they're league institutions. Like perhaps the league had them built, and maybe
the league's their main contract, but they don't only have a contract with the league. They're allowed outside representation.
Perhaps there's still somebody that runs the store, you know, and it's like the league's like, hey, we're gonna pay for the maintenance of this place, we're gonna build it, and if you don't live up to inspection, you know, you're fired. We're gonna get someone else to run it. But yeah, there's
it's a
still
good
somebody
thing they
there
included that last little amendment to the to the rules.
And they
run
handle
this store,
Pokemon
but pass
shit.
inspection.
They handle Pokemon shit. Let the cities legislate.
Well, yeah, that would suck if they were handling legislation and retail work.
That would suck if our federal government was handling Pokemon shit and letting cities legislate. I'm not at all using this as a parallel for how to run our world. Because that just wouldn't make any sense. I don't want Donald Trump in charge of the next generation of Pokemon.
No. Let's just don't. So each region, like, you know how each game progresses? You go into a different region and there's new things for the new game. Correct?
Yeah.
Like, there are new things that are sold in the places. Like, do you think the people from Kanto are jealous that they can't get, like, Pokemon dolls?
Well, I think at this point they can.
They shipping from outside of the region? Like
globalization, like, at this point they can. But in the early days, in Gen 1, I think it was...
They had to send it with... they had to send the dolls with the Pokemon trade in a letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they had to do.
Totally. It's the only way to get your dick pics back then.
just a monetary telegram.
They're like,
Beep,
damn it.
beep, stop.
Living in a world full of Pokemon has turned me gay with all this phallic imagery everywhere around me. Why would a loving God do this to me?
What?
I don't know. You gotta...
What sort of Jesus are you?
If you don't listen to our backlog, you're just like, what?
You just outed me.
Oh,
I don't listen to the backlog.
In Sinnoh, actually, though, the stock that they carry in the marts expands as you collect badges. like whether you go back to old towns or whatever, which says to me that the sale of certain items is restricted depending on how many gym badges that you've earned, which is hinting that...
That makes sense. Like, everything's available at each mart, but your badge is kind of like a restriction. You know, so it's basically like, maybe there's this main central place and it's just tubes everywhere going out to each Poke Mart, and you press a button depending on your badge number.
What I mean is that they're restrict, just like we restrict the sale of alcohol and cigarettes to minors, they restrict the sale of specific types of items to Pokemon trainers that haven't...
So you haven't gotten your psychic badge yet.
It doesn't matter on the specific badges, but the number of badges.
Your third badge?
Yeah, to like
fourth badge.
To signify that that they're an experienced trainer.
I'm sorry, but you're not quite experienced enough yet to handle this hyper potion.
My Pikachu is really sick. You're going to have to buy 6 regular potions.
You're going to have to buy 6 regular potions.
This is fucking bullshit. This is a fucking scam.
That will be 1,400 Pokecoins, please.
Also in Sinnoh, Poke Marts have 2 clerks. You know what that means.
TMs. Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Poke clerks.
Yeah, that too. So Randall will sell the TMs like videos, right?
Yeah.
The video store next door.
I asked you for TM46 Psychic. This is TM01/. I don't know the actual TM numbers, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, please respond. Tell him he's wrong.
That's too bad. Ma'am, you specifically asked me for slash.
No, I didn't. Well, if you didn't, then why do you have slash?
Randall, just give her the TM.
No.
I'm sorry about this.
I'm making
Let
a
me
point.
deal with this, Dante. You sell the potions.
I'm making a point here. This lady thinks you could just come in and lie. Get her away. This way she's going to end up with 2 TMs.
Call me a liar.
For the price of 1. No. This is about pride and principle.
Banned from the store.
But I banned. Snaps it, takes a picture. Of course, it's a Polaroid.
So, is there a Jay and Silent Bob in this world of Dante and Randall working the Poke Mart?
What do you think they're selling though outside the Poke Mart? Hey,
herbal medicine, bro.
Hey, man, I got energy roots. You want to go in there and pay for that medication? No. We got all natural herbal supplements here.
They're selling, it's the same thing. Jay and Silent Bob were like, there's no weed dealers in Kanto.
They're just selling weed.
We'll go to Kanto and dominate the market.
Noich.
As you mentioned, in later games, we've seen the Pokemarts fused with the Pokemon Centers. Again, they're definitely like a league thing. This is another sign of the progress, I believe, as it makes sense to have the 2 linked with everything.
You know what doesn't make sense?
With everything we mused about with the Pokemon Center, like, I don't know, it makes sense for it to just be the Pokemon Trainers Hub.
But the healthcare is socialized.
Sure.
At the Pokemon Center.
It's free.
No, that's not right. People should be paying for their healthcare.
Okay.
Damn straight.
You're going to be pissed in the next Pokemon game you have to pay at the Pokemon Center, though. You're going to be like, what the fuck? I'm like, Craig, you straight up asked for this.
I did not. I didn't know what I was doing. I just wanted the kickbacks.
He said he was going to make us all rich.
He said that he was going to build me a... You know what? Never mind. We're moving on.
And I think that's something that Dante and Randall would have greatly resented too, as it would change. Suddenly, you go from you're working this mart, you chill all day, you got people come in and out.
And now you're part of a strip mall. You
sell them things, and not even a strip mall, but this big, like, it's almost like, it is like a mall, but like, yeah, like in this hub where all the trainers come and battle and trade and heal their Pokemon and buy their goods, and
you're basically annoyed that you're seeing
people about their Caterpies.
Yeah, you're seeing people who are doing good things with their lives.
And you've got the place is full of people all day. There's no downtime. Like,
if it wasn't for the downtime,
yeah,
you know.
So what happens? Do they leave and become gym leaders?
Dante and Randall?
Yeah,
no.
Together. They run a gym together.
No. I mean...
Yeah, they don't have the ambition.
Yeah, they definitely don't have the ambition for that. I think they would just eventually go and work at the restaurant.
Movies? They just go back to Jersey. Let's just go back to Jersey.
No, I was thinking about the Pokemon restaurant and the Poke Jersey. Let's go back to...
The next region is just based on New Jersey.
Let's go back to Hoboken. Instead of going to a movies, they would just go to the Pokemon restaurant where you do the restaurant battles.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
And then they're like, God, we moved here. There's a restaurant. Why are you fighting, you dicks? Just eat your food and get out of here. Better yet, take it to go.
Whose bright idea was this?
Fighting in a restaurant? What are we, uncivilized? Bunch of savages in this town.
On that note, it's the end of the podcast. So I guess if you haven't finished Sun and Moon, you're going to want to dip out here in a minute.
Okay, see ya.
Oh, you haven't... Oh.
I mean, it's fine. I'm practically finished. My fiance has finished. I don't exactly know what the ending is, but I'm okay.
All right. Well, before we get to that, please... They already turned it off, so I guess it doesn't matter. All right.
Let's just have a conversation with ourselves. It's like what we do anyways.
Yeah. So I just want to send another thank you to superfan Lamu Fett, who actually gave us an update after the Cerulean City episode where we were debating whether or not the Pokemon League or the governing factor actually puts a cap on the citizens' money, on the amount of income you're allowed to earn, and caps you off at
9999999.
Yes. When you capture all the Ultra Beasts in Sun and Moon, you're awarded, that's right, $1 million.
You can uncap.
You break the cap.
So basically, you become the Scrooge McDuck of the Pokemon world.
Yes.
You control all the beasts. You even control the moon base.
Next thing you know,
and the sun base.
You run for president, there is a governing factor.
You create a governing factor. You've caught all the moon beasts in Hawaii. I mean, it's not Hawaii, of course.
Alola, yeah.
Alola.
So that's just an interesting fact there that you can have more than $1 million or more than $999,999. Then again, you just captured all these creatures from alternate dimensions,
and you clearly have the most money in the world.
At that point, you're on evil reptilian secret agenda level. You know what I mean?
No,
so,
you just basically bought a huge farm. You just buy a huge farm and let them play with each other. Be a nice guy,
Craig.
They could just play with each other.
Hear me out here, Craig.
In Ultra Beast
Craig
Meadows.
Do me a favor and hear me out here. We're talking about whether or not in this universe they cap out their citizens at $999,999,999. And if you capture all these beasts, which are interdimensional Lovecraftian monsters from another higher dimension, then you get $1 million, which breaks the cap. But that puts you at evil reptilian Illuminati level. So of course you'd have more money than the fucking peons running around shopping at the Poke Marts, taking their free health care.
Hear me out on this. Or you could just name them Skank69 in all caps and let them rot in the PC.
Or, hear me out on this. Do you think the Pokemon centers do abortions?
Are they? I think that would be at the nursery. Or
we don't know where the eggs come from, but we know where they go.
I definitely don't remember getting them at Pokemon centers, though. Weren't they from the ranch? The nursery? The nursery?
Dude, we're going to the distortion world.
Better than the Phantom Zone. That's all I'm going to say.
And what's even better than that is to get in our zone, the Secret Rooms zone.
Almost. You know what? You almost made that cool. So close.
www.secretroommultimedia.com. We got a lot going on there. Fairpoint Podcast.
Fair Enough Podcast.
Silph Radio, a Pokemon-centered podcast.
YouTube videos.
Like unboxings and vlogs and movie reviews.
All sorts of videos.
Moose and Toast.
Comics?
Yeah,
even comics?
They're comics about irreverent toast.
Don't even tell me there's blogs.
There's blogs.
I just exploded.
It's just a fun word to say. You can say the word without visiting the website.
We should put some vlogs on there.
Vlogs
and vlogs. Too. That's the way to go. That's what I hear, at least.
Go check it out. And I've got a brand new album coming up, as you may have heard.
And that'll be on there, right?
It will be. It'll be up there soon. My old albums are already up there, but keep an eye out. I'll be announcing the release date.
Spotify, who needs them?
It's called Play, and by the time you hear this, depending on when it is, it might already be there.
So check it out.
Check it out. Check it out. From the Secret Room.
I'm Craig Lewis.
And I'm Nathan K.
And I love the fact that we just created Poke Clerks.
Me too. I love the fact that we just spent however long talking about the Poke Mart. You're welcome. Silph Radio, it can end
Namaste.
now. It can
Namaste,
comfortably
Silph.
I could end the show now, and we've done all we needed to do.
But it's not. We're going to keep going.
Hey folks, it's your host Nathan K, and I've brought padding. About a week ago I had the privilege of being interviewed by Jolly by Nature, the host of up-and-coming Pokemon podcast, Blast Burn Radio. If you're a regular listener, you've heard me mention it a few times, and if you haven't taken a moment to go check it out yet, I'm going to save you the trouble and prove to you they're worth your time. They're doing some really cool stuff over there. Each of the three hosts is doing their own live streams as they play through each of the Pokemon games, starting with Gen 1. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're doing like a Nuzlocke run or something like that. Back on their podcast, though, they cover Pokemon news and then discuss their respective adventures in their own respective Let's Plays. Every once in a while, though, they'll ditch the regular format for an interview, and I had the distinct honor of being the first. If you want to hear the full interview, it's episode 4, and I really, really suggest you give their podcast a listen in general. It's called Blast Burn Radio. They're on Facebook, and it's available on iTunes and most other podcast directories. For now, though, please enjoy this clip from our conversation, and if you find it entertaining, I urge you to go check out the entire episode. Without further ado, more of me talking.
So, how exactly did you originally become interested in Pokemon? Like, how did you discover the series? What scratched that itch for you?
Okay, so I was at school, and I was legitimately sick. I legitimately went home sick from school. I wasn't just faking it. And my mom must have been hip to this, that I wasn't just faking it, because on the way home, we stopped at McDonald's. I remember vividly. I was probably 7th grade, I guess. This was like the year before Pokemon came out in America. We stopped at Blockbuster, and I had the option of renting a game or a movie, and there wasn't much I wanted there, so I was like, hey, can I get this new issue of Nintendo Power? It's got Yoshi's story on the cover, and I love Yoshi. So I picked up the new issue of Nintendo Power, went home, ate my McDonald's, and read the Nintendo Power, and in it, there was this tiny little blurb about pocket monsters, and I don't think it even said Pokemon. If it did, it said both, but it described it as sort of a Tamagotchi meets Final Fantasy-esque game, and there was a screenshot from Red and Blue with Red just standing in the middle of a town, the player sprite standing in the middle of a town, a screenshot from the original Pokemon Stadium, which was never released here, but basically the same thing as the one we got with Blastoise and Charizard facing each other, and then I think a picture from Hey You Pikachu, so like a little CG Pikachu, and instantly, and it was like there's 150 different monsters, and I could see 3 of them on that page that all looked cool, and the fact that I was like, oh my god, there's 147 more of these, and I was obsessed with Tamagotchis. I had like 5 of them. I'm a loser. And I loved RPGs. Chrono Trigger was always one of my favorite games. So I was like, when this game comes out, like I remember telling all my friends, like, guys, this is going to be dope. And the more coverage Nintendo Power gave it, the more I just got really hyped, and it finally came out. And, you know, of course, it wasn't long before everybody jumped on that bandwagon for good reason.
Well, that is really, really cool. Like, I tend to consider myself a pretty early adopter, and you still beat the shit out of me. So that is really neat, actually.
Well, yeah, before it was cool.
So are you calling yourself a Poke hipster?
A little bit, maybe. Ironically, though.
Okay. As long as it's ironic, that's okay then.
I don't know whether that makes it worse or better. Does that make me more of a hipster or less of a hipster?
I'm honestly not sure. Either way, it leaves kind of a.
It's like holding up a mirror to a mirror, basically.
It puts a Portland taste in my mouth, and that's kind of salty and gritty. I don't know how I feel about that.
Because if it makes me less of a hipster, then I would be happy with that. But that would kind of make me more of a hipster in essence of. Okay, let's talk about Pokemon.
Okay, yeah, that's enough hipsters. So then you were, again, obviously a very, very early adopter. You hyped the series before the games were even out here stateside. So when they did come out, I mean, obviously something has kept your interest for the last 20 years. But did they, when you actually got to lay hands on them, did they live up to that high expectation you already had going in?
Oh God, yes, they did. Absolutely. I spent every waking hour playing them. There was a rule in my house that there was no video gaming on the weekdays, only on weekends. And I just superseded that rule by sheer force of will. I don't know how I did it. Like, it took months for my parents to catch on and suddenly go, "Hey, wait, what do you mean you're meeting with kids after school to play Pokemon? There's no video games on weekdays." And I'm like, you don't get it. You don't get it. Pokemon's different. I won't play video games. Pokemon's not a video game, Mom. You don't get it. No, I would walk to school in the winter with my gloves off so I could keep training my Charmander.
Oh man, I totally get that. It's funny because I was allowed to play video games through the week, but my grades suffered so much after Red and Blue came out that the rule became that I could not play Pokemon until the weekends. And then it was pretty much, it entered my hand on Friday after school and didn't get put away until Sunday before bed. So no, I totally get that. So I suppose the question then, the question that separates the Poke boys from the Poke men, who was your first starter?
Oh, God. I think it was Bulbasaur, but it pains me to say that I honestly don't remember because in the early days, I restarted that game so many times with the Game Shark codes, and my friend got the game before I did. My first experience with the game, because his mom was more likely to buy him shit than mine was him giving me the call like, "Dude, I got Pokemon," and I was like, "I'm grabbing my Super Game Boy." That was the thing that let you play your Game Boy games through the Super Nintendo onto the TV. Mm-hmm. Ran down and played it in his basement. So it's lost in the fog of my memory, but I've always been a fan of like the green, the grass type, the forest type creatures. So I think it's kind of likely I went with Bulbasaur, but I know that I've played with all three of those starters, and that's one of the only generations that I absolutely love all three of them. I can't pick a favorite. It's the only generation I think that I can't pick a favorite.
That's a really fair opinion. It actually makes me kind of happy that Bulbasaur is getting some love. Literally none of our hosts picked Bulbasaur. Not a single one.
And I get that. I get it.
And actually, the guy who got stuck with him in our challenge kind of threw a fit about it. So it's nice that someone's giving the little green guy some love.
I love Bulbasaur, but yeah, I do understand you've got Charizard and Blastoise, which are both very iconic, bombastic creatures. And yeah, I can see why Bulbasaur gets the snub, but...
Oh man, Blastoise was always my favorite, but I really, really don't like how he adapted to the 3D models. Like, I don't think that I could pick him in a current generation game. He just
really
he doesn't. He looked threatening in the sprites, and now he just looks like chubby and derpy. I don't know. Maybe that's just a me thing, but I don't like it.
Well, that was what I loved about the early days of Pokemon was. And that's what Silph Radio is that so much of it was fueled by your imagination and what is it like to actually be in this world. Me and my brother actually wrote Pokemon journals. God, I wish I still had these, but we got a notebook dedicated to writing a diary as if we were a Pokemon trainer on our journey and like the different Pokemon we caught in Mount Moon, and then we coincided it so we both went on the SSN at the same day so we could write about battling each other, and God, we're such losers.